AITA for threatening my brother with a restraining order if he went anywhere near my niece.
I, 32M, have been the sole guardian of my niece S, 13F, for most of her life. Her parents, my sister and Bill, both died within a few days of each other when she was a few months old. So I'm the only parent she knows. I have a half-brother L, 33M, who started living with us when I was 7. My dad made it super clear which of us he liked better. And despite his troublemaking tendencies, both my father and sister were very lenient to him. Here's why I don't think I'm the TA. L is partially responsible for S being orphaned. I won't go into any details, but it was a drunk driving incident. L made it out. Bill died on impact. And my sister a few days afterwards. L was indicted. And I don't know how he did it, but my dad got him out. L then disappeared for over 10 years. He only showed up a few months ago. Completely sober and with a family of his own.
The first thing he did when he got back was ask to see S. I told him no. He said he understood, and that he promised not to contact S until I allowed it. Except about a week ago I found out he's been constantly coming to see her at school. His wife is a teacher. Worst thing is, S doesn't know who L actually is. She just thinks he's a favorite teacher's husband. When I found out, I tore him a new one, and threatened to report him to the police and place a restraining order on him. He doesn't deserve to know her after what he did. After he caused me to be a parent at 19, my dad wasn't granted legal custody of S because he had previously been reported for child neglect when I was 16. I applied for emancipation that same year. Bill's side of the family is extremely wealthy but also awful to the core, so I fought for custody of S. Why I might be the TA, it was no secret my sister favored L. L was the charming one, while I was always hiding behind a book. She was the only one who stayed when he was drinking and using underage. She would forgive him for literally everything. She would have wanted him to know her daughter. S is also upset with me because I banned her from talking to L as well as filed a petition to get her moved to a different class. The only way I can convince her is by telling her who L really is, but how do I do that to her?
NTA, you should really report your brother's wife. She is a teacher who went behind a parent's back and let a child in her care meet a grown man who she knew was not allowed to see the child. That is a massive deal and the school needs to know about it.
NTA. He went behind your back to secretly talk to her. That is disgusting and a complete disregard of you as a parent, not to mention manipulative to the kid. Also, I highly doubt she would want to know him if she knew what he did. If I was her, I'd feel disgusted I ever interacted with him.
NTA. He went behind your back to potentially harm your niece. That's awful, and if it happens again I would definitely ask for a restraining order or something. I don't really know how those work, but I would think this counts as stalking. Also, I recommend telling niece everything. She's old enough to know. And telling her your concerns about her interacting with this person will give her 100% clarity, so she won't be so guy street this process. Any child would be upset when something they consider an obnoxious rule is set with no explanation. Why? Let her know that even though not biologically your child, you love her. She will always be your daughter. And you just want to protect her from someone you think wants to do her harm. Edit. This is my first comment to even breach 100 upvotes. Much less 3K. So thanks everyone. Also thanks for the award, stranger. NTA. I understand that maybe your sister would have wanted S to know L. But unfortunately she's not here to make that decision. And you're the one who's raising her. You know better than anyone how to keep S safe. And if that means getting a restraining order, you should go for it. Please tell her, man. You don't want her learning about it later and resenting you for not telling her she was talking to her parents' murderer all that time. You're NTA. Fuck that guy. NTA at all. Get a restraining order, and I think it's time to talk to your niece. She's old enough to know, and personally, if I were her, I would be disgusted knowing who I was talking to. L is a shyster, and he's going to keep trying to wiggle his way into her life. He's already shown he doesn't care to break boundaries. He's been enabled his whole life and is still being enabled. Break the cycle. Info. How on earth were you granted custody of a 3-year-old at 19? Over a wealthy family who, awful or not, would have had much more means to look after the child? How is L's wife's favorite teacher if L disappeared 10 years ago and just recently surfaced? Edit. How is L allowed to be in the school so regularly as he does not work there? Plus, COVID rules generally prohibit people from being in places they have no business at?
NTA. Depending on your country, your brother going to the school to see her may be illegal.
NTA. Disrespecting your decisions while leaving you your niece for 10 years alone says how much he cared. Even sending some money while sorting life out would have been some help, especially because he is one of the reasons she has no parents. It's irresponsible and unfair of him just to pop into her life like that without even telling her who he is. This one is important though. Talk to a few child therapists about this topic. Not mentioning the fact that your half-brother is one of the reason why her parents are dead is kinda harsh to keep it as a secret from her. We are no professionals here, and I am pretty sure someone will blurt that fact intentionally, unintentionally out. So go seek some professional help and talk with them how you should tell her, because there will never be a good time to do so, and it's probably the best that you tell it her. Offering her some therapy afterwards would be a great idea as well, so that she can one day move on from this topic. I am personally for telling her the truth though. She could otherwise get bitter about this in the future. NTA. And yes, you're a good uncle. Your intentions are great. However, niece is only going to grow. I believe she deserves to know the truth and can then make the decision herself. And I don't know how he did it, but my dad got him out. What is the factual situation here? Was he intoxicated according to the law? Or not? What is the exact meaning of, my dad got him out? Why do you expect that you will get a restraining order? So your brother just moved back to the neighborhood with a family in tow. Yet your daughter's long-term favorite school teacher is his wife? Interesting. Info. L was gone for over 10 years. Returned a few months ago with a family, and his wife is your daughter's teacher? I'm a bit confused as to the timeline here. NTA. So firstly, you need to report the wife. Schools have super strict rules and training around adults being near kids, and if he isn't listed as an approved adult, then he can't be there. If the wife let him have contact with your niece, then she could also allow him to try to take her. And as harmless as they might believe that he is, it's still abduction. Secondly, I would suggest you find a therapist who deals with children and give them a call. Explain the situation and say that you feel it may be important that your niece knows about him, but you don't know how to do that without causing hurt. They should be able to set up some appointments for either just the niece or for you both together to talk about this. Then if you can afford to do so, I would keep her in therapy, providing your niece is alright with this arrangement. Also keep records of everything. Dates and times that he's tried to be in contact. The fact that he told you he wouldn't. All of it. You probably won't need it, but having it isn't a bad idea. Also always make copies. Info. I am a bit confused about the timeline. Your brother resurfaced a few months ago and his wife instantly ended up being your niece's teacher? You first called her a teacher, But you also say that you asked for your niece to be placed in a different class. So is she her actual teacher? NTA, but a couple of observations. Sorry for being blunt. 1. She's your daughter now. 2. Your half-brother is an A for going behind your back. This looks more like him wanting to feel better than about what is best for you and your daughter. Tell him he has lost all rights to see her and to back off. 3. His wife is so out of line it's not funny. Ask her if she would do the same thing if she wasn't related to the person in question. I wouldn't report her. The situation is difficult enough. 4. You seem to have a bit of resentment, anger and leftover jealousy. Not towards your daughter but towards the rest of your family. Are you sure that those emotions are not influencing your decision? Perhaps you need to talk to someone with a cool head. And not Reddit. 5. 13 is old enough to know. The question is, are you capable of tell her an unbiased version given how you feel about the whole situation? 6. ETA. Sister and Bill are dead. Trying to second-guess what they would have wanted is going to drive you daft. You don't know how they would have changed had they lived. You will encounter situations they would never even have thought of, and unfortunately they didn't have the chance to know your daughter's personality. You are the one on the ground. Your decisions are the right ones, or at least the best ones which could be made at the time. Good luck. I wish you all the best. ETA. Thanks for the award. NTA. Report the effing teacher. I'm a teacher myself, and WTF is that? She lied to your niece and to you. She knew what she was doing was wrong, but she did it anyways. NTA. But you will become one in your niece's eyes when you don't explain yourself. 13 is old enough. You could also report the teacher for allowing your husband access to a child, especially considering you said to L not to contact her. If you don't tell your daughter now, she could resent you for moving classes and losing her favorite teacher for no reason. NTA. And no one should go behind your back like that. I am unsure though as to why do you think L would be dangerous to S. I'm not saying he deserves to know her in any way. But I also didn't read anything that would necessarily make him very dangerous anymore. People with alcohol and drug addictions can recover, and he seems to have done that. 10 years? And as horrible as the driving accident was, it still sounds like it was a genuine accident, and he's not necessarily bad to the core. Getting a restraining order based on 10-year-old events sounds unlikely to me though. Either way, this should be your decision. Until your daughter can maybe later make her own. Be honest with her. Info. What was the everything your sister forgave him for? Lots of kids drink and experiment with drugs underage. Is there something else? You said the accident involved drunk driving. Was he the driver? Just seems unlikely that you're going to be let off completely if you were the drunk driver in a DBL fatality wreck. Were there other PPL injured?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.